Today, we're going to be talking about the Latvian War for Independence. Link to the original videos down in the description below. If you like the commentary and discussions we do here on my channel, consider subscribing. I also have a playlist to all my Latvia related videos in the description as well. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Steven here from History Hustle, and I'm standing in Riga, the capital of Latvia. And in this video, I'm going to discuss the Latvian War of Independence, a war that took place from 1918 till 1920, and it took place in the aftermath of both the Russian Revolution and the First World War.
Which is crazy timing to do independence, a war for independence. It honestly was probably one of the best times to do it. Well, I guess it could go either way, but when there's usually a lot of chaos, if you're fighting for independence, that's the best time to do it. Especially when all the powers around you are unstable. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it could go either way, but it worked out.
We've discussed many armed conflicts so far, but I tell you this, the Latvian War of Independence is one of the most complicated conflicts that took place in history. So bear with me, and we're gonna barrel through this. Now, before we're going to dive into this conflict, let's take a look at the different combatants. First of all, the Latvian independent movement. These were Latvians that wanted an independent Latvia. Second, the Bolsheviks. These were Russian communists that seized power after the October Revolution of 1917 in Russia. Third, the Germans, or more specific, the Baltic Landeswehr. They wanted to keep the Bolsheviks out, but also establish a pro-German government in Latvia. Fourth, the West Russian Volunteer Army. This army was created by the Germans, and within this army there were former Russian POWs that got captured during the First World War by the Germans. They also wanted to keep the Bolsheviks out of Latvia and out of Russia. And because Latvia used to be a part of Russia, they wanted to keep that. 1914, World War I breaks out. Russia fights against Germany. Now, the war goes very bad for Russia. Millions of soldiers die at the front. February 1917, there is a revolution. The Tsar has to lay down his power, and now there's a provisional government formed, led by the socialist Kerensky. Now, at that point, there were many parts of the Russian Empire that wanted to become independent. Latvia was one of them.
Right on. He said, now is our time. In this chaos, we will be free.
Now, Kerensky did not want this, and also he made a very unpopular decision to continue the war against Germany. September 1917, Germans occupy Riga. October that year, the October Revolution takes place. Russian communists, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, now gain power. At that point, there were still Germans in Latvia. They remained to be there even till after the armistice of 11 November 1918. Because 1 week later, on the 18th of November 1918, Latvia declares itself independence. This day is, even until now, being celebrated as being Independence Day. A part of the Germans leave, another part stays. But then, at the beginning of December, the Bolsheviks, the Red Army, attacks. They declare the Latvian Socialist Soviet Republic.
Oh my gosh. So, man, they couldn't even let anybody breathe back then. They were like, you know what? We're coming back. We're going to attack right now. Crazy. I mean, we've seen this, right? In other stories of throughout history, but it's just so astonishing how out for blood and conquest they were back then.
The communists kill thousands of alleged enemies. Also,
Alleged. Again, alleged. If there's anything communism will teach you, is that if you disagree with them, they always resort to violence in any shape or form. And so that's, the alleged part. I'm glad he mentioned that.
they make land reforms, which are followed by famine. There's resistance, which is followed by terror. To sum it up in short, the Latvian communist government becomes very unpopular in a short amount of time. With communists now in power, the Germans and the Latvians join forces, and in March 1919 they strike back.
crazy, crazy, crazy how that worked out. They're like, you know what? We both hate these guys more than we hate each other. Let's go get it.
2 months later, May 1919, they reconquer Riga, and with that, the Bolshevik threat for Latvia is now expelled. However, Latvian independence is far from certain because the Germans were not interested in that. They wanted to expel the Bolsheviks, yes, but they also wanted to install a pro-German government in Latvia.
Of course, you could never just have allies, right? Back then, like he could just never have help. And good neighbors. Good neighbors did not exist back then. I guess even now in a weird way. But especially in Europe, man, the amount, like as an American, we're very blessed that we really don't have that many neighbors. And so learning about Europe's history and how often countries would stab each other in the back by what you would consider allies. You know, at the time, well, at this time even it's a little confusing too, but it's just insane how much nothing was ever black and white, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The Germans worked together with the West Russian Volunteer Army, an army they created themselves to fight against the Bolsheviks. But this army wanted to restore Russian rule in Latvia as it was before the First World War. Fighting resumed. The Latvians are not alone. They're being supported by the Estonians, who are also waging their own war of independence, as well as the Poles.
Yes, the trio, they're back, baby.
And they got elite support. On the 11th of November 1919, exactly 1 year after World War I came to an end, they conquer Riga and expel the Russian forces. With that, the Germans also leave. In August 1920, with the peace treaty of Riga, Soviet Russia acknowledged the independence of Latvia. So there you have it, the Latvian War of Independence with all its complications. I hope you found this video interesting.
That was a really good breakdown. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of battles and stuff we probably missed, but that is a very confusing war for independence because it's a lot of, I wouldn't say confusing. It is a very complicated because there's a lot of people involved in a short amount of time, and there's a lot of power change in a short amount of time, which is kind of impressive that it all worked out in the end. If you really look at it and consider how much change, power dynamics happened, how many people were involved, it's very impressive that it still worked out in the end for you guys to be independent. Like all things considered, that's actually a great result. So right on. I mean, congrats and to Latvia. I'm glad that you guys are here, and I can't wait to visit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is there some major battles or something that I missed that I should check out? Anyway, I love you guys. I'll check you on the next one. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you, actually, by viewers like you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's create new memories this 2025 on our road to 1 million subscribers. And with all that jazz out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much. I love y'all and enjoy the video.